So there is a tips for reading passage 3. So how I have wasted my time in doing reading passage 3 only for 4 questions. Okay, so you should not waste it like that. You just check how I have done it mistakenly and then note to repeat in your practice. Okay, as you can see the question numbers from 27 to 40, this passage is killing your band scores in IELTS reading. Okay, so believe me, you will get definitely good trick and tip here, how to handle, how to just do finish this reading passage 3 within time. Okay, let's do it. And something I will explain it to you. So the title, immediately just read this title: why fairy tales are really scary tales. Okay, so really this is fairy tales kind of thing and they are going to scare us. Don't worry, we will not scare from this scary tale. Okay, so after looking at the title of the reading passage, there straight away we will go to the questions. So here question for first type of question, we have complete each sentence with the correct endings. So we have 27 to 31. So these are the sentences and these are the endings. We have to match from these sentences with these. But how we will get the answer? After reading the text, after reading the passage relating to this, then we can match with these statements. Second type of question we have multiple choice questions. Okay, multiple choice questions. So there are 4 questions. And third type of question we have complete the summary using the list of words. That's a difficult question according to my opinion. So really I find it sometimes difficult, but sometimes you can easily get the answer. Okay, so let's start with first type of question. Now first type of question we have complete each sentence. Now these are the sentences. Let's read these statement first, these information, and then we will read our question statement one by one. Okay, so as you know, this is first type of question. Definitely you will get the location of this question statement in first or second paragraph. Okay, so yeah, may be provided through methods used in biological research. Okay, are the reason for the survival, are the reason for their survival, show considerable global variations, considerable continuously global variation. Okay, changes, contain animals, okay, which transform to become humans. Okay, were originally spoken rather than written, originally spoken rather than written, have been developed without factual basis. Okay, without factual basis. Okay, now first question statement says in fairy tales details of the plot means story. Okay, details of the plot. Let's go to the passage. So first type of question, first question we will start looking from the first paragraph. People of every culture. So what we were looking for? Details of the plot. In fairy tales, details of the plot. Okay, people of every culture tell each fairy tales. Okay, but the same story often takes a variety of forms in different parts of the world. Okay, a variety of forms in different parts of the world. It means tell each other fairy tales, but the same story often takes a variety of forms in different parts of the world. In the story that European children are familiar with young girl on the way. Okay, now they have started talking about story. Okay, so let's read, because we have come to know fairy tales and details of the story, same story they are talking about. And let's read it, the option, read the options. May be provided through methods used in biological research. No. Are the reason for their survival? They are not describing any reason. Show considerable global variation. So global world was there, variation also there. Through different parts of the world means global, and variations like often takes a variety of means variation. So we will be writing it and cutting it from our list. That is C. C will come in front of 27. Next, Tehrani rejects the idea that the useful lessons for life in fairy tales. He rejects the idea that the useful lessons for life in fairy tales. Tehrani. Now I have to find this Tehrani person name. Okay, in this paragraph, They are talking about a little Red Riding Hood story. You can see girl, the wolf runs. So we don't need to read this story. Okay, I am looking for Tehrani. Okay, appeal to these contain messages. The universal appeal of these attribute to they contain cautious messages. Listen to your mother and avoid talking to strangers. But very Tehrani is here. Okay, says inverted comma means that person is saying it might be what we find interesting about this story is that it's got this survival relevant information in it. Says this at Dehradun, but his research suggests otherwise different. We have this huge gap in our knowledge about the history and prehistory of storytelling, despite the fact we know this genre is an incredibly ancient one. Okay, let's read the options first. He rejects the idea that useful lessons for life in fairy tales. So here he is talking about it might be what we find interesting about this story is that it's got survival relevant information in it, says this person. And again he is saying but his research suggests otherwise. We have this huge gap in our knowledge about the history and prehistory of storytelling, despite the fact that we know this genre. Okay, we have read it, now we can easily we can match it. May be provided through methods in biological research. No, biological research, but his research suggests otherwise. We have found this gap. Okay, and are the reason for their survival. Oh, survival is also there. Yes, we find interesting about this story is that it's got this survival relevant information in it. Okay, that we can keep it with second 28th. Yes, we will write here B. Okay, so this also we have found. Now third, various theories about social significance of fairy tales. Various theories. Okay, here they were talking about that hasn't theories about the social significance of fairy tales. Devising theories. Yes, I got the word theory. If I didn't get the theory, then I would have left this question. To explain the importance of fairy tales in human society. Now Tehrani has found a way to test these ideas, borrowing a technique from evolution biologists. Okay, about the social significance of fairy tales. This hasn't stopped. We have this huge gap in our knowledge because they have used this word theories here to explain the importance of fairy tales in human society. So it means, so here they are talking about Tehrani. So it means we have to read this. We have this huge gap in our knowledge about this. Okay, that the fact we know is incredible ancient ones. Okay. Biological research can be put. No. So these two we have done. Contain animals. No, they are not talking animals. Were original spoken rather than written. No. Have been developed without factual basis. We can match with this because despite the fact we know this genre is an incredible ancient and all, so we can match. Initially we can match, but this is the thing, it will come. Okay, then with 29th it is F. Okay, now this also cut. Now written and this biological also is also left. Okay, so next question is, you can see insights into the development of fairy tales. Insights, where is insight? Now to work out evolutionary history, development and relationship among groups of organism, biologists compare the characteristic of living species, and Tehrani has used the same approach to compare relative versions of fairy tales to discover how this have survived longest. So where I will get insight into the developments of fairy tales. Development word is here. So we can just try to find out. To work out evolutionary history, development and relationship among groups of organisms, biologist word is also there. So compare the characteristic of living species in a process called this analysis. Yes, biological word was also there, 30th number we can match, and development also, so we can match, so don't think too much. Okay, we have got this word also, this also you can do it. Now all the fairy tales analyzed by Tehrani. Okay, now we have left only these two. Let's read it. All the fairy tales analyzed by Tehrani. All. Now Tehrani has used same approach to compare relative version fairy tales to discover how they have evolved, which elements have survived longest. Okay. So next, all the fairy tales analyzed focused on this. Analyzed focused on red little in many form, which include another western fair, wolf and kids, checking for variants of these two tales and similar stories from Africa, Asia, and he ended up 58 stories recorded from oral traditions. One of his analyses had established that they were indeed relation. Oral tradition word is also there, recorded from oral traditions. He ended up 58 stories from oral traditions. All fairy tales analyzed by Tehrani. So he ended up, yes, this is all, means he has done 58 stories recorded from oral traditions. So what he is saying, contains animal, no, spoken rather than written. Spoken means oral. So we will just write it with E. Okay. Now come to the next question. So next question is complete the summary using list of words. Okay, we have these list of words, and one tip here is, if you don't have time, then please try to read it from here and try to match the words here. Okay, but actually think you should read and find the location and find the word, and that word you can paraphrase it, you can find it similar word from here, and you have to write answers these letters. So polygenetic analysis of Little Red Riding Hood. Tehrani used techniques from evolutionary biology to find out if existing. Okay, so same paragraph we have to read it again. Okay, so we will be doing it like that. Okay, so this is the title in many form. Evolutionary, we can read it. So we have found this word over here, polygenetic analysis of little, this word we have found it. Okay, so it's important to find the title of the summary, and then we can easily find the location. So Tehrani used technique from evolutionary biology to find out if. So technology, from here we can, Tehrani is also there, has used the same approach to compare related versions of fairy tales to discover how they have evolved. So evolutionary, and which elements have survived longest, to find out if survived. This also is also there, to find out which elements have survived, find out if existed. Okay, which element, to work out the. Okay, next paragraph, evolutionary history, development and relation. No, this we were here. No, we have done this. Which elements have survived longest? Find out if survived or existed longest. Survived means what, we can use it if. Analysis focus in many form, which includes, no, here answer is here, which elements have survived longest, how evolved. Okay, so if, so I am just leaving it. Okay, leaving it, question mark I am just putting it because I am not getting it. Okay, existed amongst 58 stories from around the world. 58 stories is here. Okay, let's find it. Checking, which includes Western analysis focused in many forms. You can also read it with me. Which include another Western fairy tale known as this, checking for variants of these two tales and similar stories. He ended up with 58 stories recorded from oral traditions. Once he had analysis had established that they were indeed related, the same methods they have developed. So, okay, leave it. He also wanted to know which aspects of the story had fewest. Fewest means less. Okay. So, fewest. Okay. He also wanted to know which aspect of the story. Once had established they were indeed relatively use the same method to explore, they have developed and altered over time. Aspects of the story had fewest, as he believed these aspects would be important ones. Okay, aspect of the story that were included, fewest story, as he believed these aspects had established they were indeed relation, the same methods to explore how they have developed and altered over time. He also wanted to know, as he believed these would be the most important one. Okay, let's read it here. Here we couldn't find. First, he tested some assumptions about which aspect of the story alter least. Least means fewest. So alter. So alter, we can use alter. Ending horror, alter. So variations, alter. So we will be writing F for this. Okay. Now next location is contrary to other beliefs. Okay. And here now paragraph is finished. Folk believe that what happens in a story to the central story relatively met by scary. Okay, let's move on to the next page. Contrary word we have to find. So fundamental whether animal is okay. However means contrary. Terani found no significant difference in the rate of evaluation of incidents compared what that character. Certain episodes are very stable. Okay, let's read the question statement again. Here they are saying contrary to other beliefs he found that some. So before blank some word is there. So here also we had found the blank with this some. He found that some that were included in a story tended to change over time. Okay, so here in this Terani found no significant difference in the rate of evaluation of incident compared with that of characters. He found included change over time. Okay, certain episodes are very stable. Certain means, just a minute, he found that some is not every. Certain episodes are very stable but they are crucial to the story, but there are lots of other details. So can we go with that? Certain, then episodes. So what we can find the word episodes? Ending, links, horror, events, records, events, episodes. Yes, we can put here B, events. Okay. Now next one. Middle of the, okay. He was also surprised that parts of his story which seemed to provide some sort of dash were unimportant. Okay. Some sort of dash were unimportant. Okay, he neither freely, what he is saying, he was also surprised. Okay, yes, surprise is next paragraph. When he looked at the cautionary elements of the story. Okay, that middle of the story seemed, he was also surprised at which seemed to provide some sort of dash were unimportant. Elements of the story. So we can put here provide some sort of were very important. So here they have given different thing, were unimportant, and they are using the word really important information about the environment. So suggest that these narratives, so here I should think like he looked at this cautionary elements of the story, so we can just match it something like that. Okay, yes, can we put warning, precautionary elements of the story. Okay, so we will be writing C. Okay, now last line, the aspect that he found most important in a story survival was. So that word is also here, story survival. Survival, I have read it here. Yeah, survival is also here. So we were looking for the aspect that he found most important in a story survival was. Okay, and important, really important about the environment and the possible dangers that he may be faced. Okay, stuffs relevant to survival. Okay, so possible dangers, what can be possible dangers? People, plot, dangers, horror, we can put G. Okay, now let's do multiple choice question. So now for these multiple choice question, we have 4 questions. Let's read it one by one. What method did Jamie Terani used to test his ideas about fairy tale? Okay. So what method? Let's read it because we have already gone through all the things about Jamie Terani. He compared oral and written forms of the same stories. No, he did. He in fact, from oral to written, he had recorded. I think he looked at many different forms on the some basic story. Yes, this he had done, but we will find it. He looked at unrelated stories from many different countries. Not unrelated. He contrasted the development of fairy tales with that of living creatures. No. So, okay, test his ideas about fairy tales. So we know where is that. We will directly go to that. So here he was comparing the thing Terani used to test his idea about fairy tales. So what he had used in many forms, which include another Western fairy tale. This checking for variants of these two tales and similar stories from Africa. He ended up story from oral once. So what he is saying, he compared oral. So this is not. He looked at many different forms of the same basic story. So yes, this they are saying focused on this story in many form, which include another Western fairy tale. Okay, so we will be putting B for that. B. Okay, now next, when discussing Terani's view, okay, Jack Gibbs suggests that. So we have to find this Jack Gibbs because in whatever we have read, there is no person like that. So it means the leftover paragraphs, this person's name will be there. So here it is given. So name we can easily recognize. So what is the question? When discussing Tehrani's view, Jack Gibbs suggests that what he had suggested about this. Okay, so let's check whether in another paragraph. Okay, this unwanted information is unconvinced by Tehrani's views on fairy tales. Even if they are gruesome, they won't stick unless they matter, he says. He believes perennial theme of woman victim in stories who explains why they feel to continue to feel relevant. But Tehrani points out, although this is often case in Western. So, okay. So, till here, we have to find the answer. Views on fairy tales. Even if they are gruesome, they won't stick unless they matter. He believes theme of women as victim in stories like why they continue to feel relevant. Okay. Tehrani ignores key changes in the role of. No, he is not saying like that. Stories which are too horrific are not always taken seriously. Tehrani overemphasized the importance of violence. No, it was not like that. Features on stories only survive if they have deeper significance. Can we have gruesome? Okay, yes, they won't stick unless they matter. It means D will come. D. Okay. Why now? Next question. Why does Tehrani refer to Chinese and Japanese fairy tale? Okay. So refer to Chinese and Japanese fairy tales. So Tehrani again, but Tehrani points out, although this is often the case in Western versions, it is not always true elsewhere. In Chinese and Japanese versions, often known as the tiger grandmother, the villain is a woman, and in both Iran and Nigeria, the victim is a boy. So what he is saying about Chinese and Japanese version, it is not always true elsewhere. Okay, often known as the tiger grandmother, villain is a woman. Okay, refer to Chinese and Japanese fairy tale to indicate that zigzag theory is incorrect, to suggest that crime is a global problem, no, to imply that all fairy tales have a similar meaning, to add more evidence for zigzag ideas, what we can suggest, to indicate, so because to yes, here it will come, because here but is also there, but Terani points out, although this is often the case in Western version, it is not always true. That's why he's opposing, theory is incorrect. Okay, so direct line is not there, but you can find it, you can just do it. Now next is, what does Matthias Clayton believe about fairy tales? Mathin Clayton believe about fairy tales. So this person, this is in the last paragraph. At Denmark, unnecessary information isn't surprised by Tyranny's finding. Habits and morals change, but the thing that scares us, the fact that we seek out entertainment that's designed to scare us, those are constant, he says. Jason believes that scary stories teach us what it feels like to be afraid without having to experience real danger, and so build up resistance to negative emotions. So they are safe way of learning to deal with fear. Yes, I think he is saying this. Without having to experience real danger, it feels like to be afraid without having. So they are safe way of learning to deal with fear. Let's read it another one. They are a type of entertainment that some people avoid. No, they reflect the changing values of our society. Changing values, no. Okay, they reduce our ability to deal with real world problem. They reduce our ability, no, so we will go with that. Okay, so now the answer for, and the answer for 32 is D, because I couldn't find out from the paragraph, so it is D. Okay, D, links, but still find out links, but actually indirect things were there, but I couldn't make out that we can go for links. Okay, so otherwise all answers, all or everything is correct. That's why just do more practice for this reading passage 3, that is a time killing. Hello everyone, I am Monica from IELTS 9. So we will be doing this reading passage 3.